What it do? We're on Hawk Talk Week 2, Season 3. The crew's back. Percy's back from Vegas. Tech's back
Let's
from his
go.
winter storm. Zach's been here all along with me. But we're back. Week 2. We're excited to be here. Fellas, how we doing?
Great, man. Great. And I was here last year. I just got in trouble halfway through the Hawk Talk, so I had to dip out real quick.
Percy got new obligations, so he's going to get in
Yeah.
trouble a lot more now.
Yeah.
He's got to go through some growing pains that I'm sure me and Tech know about already. So
Oh,
no,
yeah.
all good, all good. Tech, how was? I'm glad to see you back, man. That winter storm was pretty crazy.
Man, I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to have power and food and warmth.
So
It's pretty nice.
all that shit, huh? Zach, how we doing, bro?
Doing good, man. Came right back from work, Didn't
Good.
even change. I'm all nasty and shit from work, but it's Hawk Talk. We gotta do what we gotta do out here.
You got
Same,
it.
same.
You got to do it. All right, fellas, we got a lot to cover today in about 40 minutes. So we're gonna go a quick recap of last week. We're gonna take a look at the rankings. We'll get into that in a little bit, and then we're gonna take a deep dive into this week's games. But let's start last week. We're gonna go quickly through these. UConn beat Syracuse 89-72. Gino DaVinci had 17 points, 3 rebounds, and 5 assists for the Orange. And Walker Lobo had 16 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Was 2 for 2 from 3. Walker Lobo's been on a tear right now through the preseason, and right now he looks like a completely different player than we saw at UCLA. Tech, I mean, tell me about what he's been able to accomplish and what that means for UConn.
Yeah, I think he's just getting, the role that he wished that he had at UCLA. Just getting more touches, getting more opportunities, and he's been able to take advantage. I mean, we knew that he was this kind of player last season. He just didn't get that chance. But UConn's using him to all of his abilities, and he's showing out.
Yeah, he's been hot from everywhere, and he's in the right system now. So Walker Lobo is definitely, for me, a breakout player of the year candidate for me. He's already started that. We'll move on to the next game. Oklahoma State beat North Carolina 88-74.
That ain't even happen.
Percy was partying in Vegas, so don't blame him. Kareem Begum's dropped maybe the best stat line we've ever seen in the CSBA, 22, 12, and 6. He's very close, Zach, to getting a triple-double in this league. His teammate Trey Upton, not too shabby either, 13, 4, and 7. And then on the North Carolina side, Mike Coco, 19, 3, and 3. 3 blocks. Percy Cooper had 13 points and 1 rebound. So we know what we're going to get out of Coco, Zach. But, I mean, Kareem Begum looks like he's playing. He has no reason. I mean, he has a reason to play with a chip on his shoulder, but he's really playing with a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen him in chat. He's been active as hell this year. He did those sick uniforms for us last week. I know he's feeling slighted, man. He had a phenomenal last season. I don't even think he got an All-Star nomination just because of Maverick and LaFleur. So we got to talk to somebody about that, whoever did that, because he's on a tear this year, whoever did that. So, we might have some beef to pick.
Yeah, somebody made a mistake. That's the viewers. Y'all voted on All-American, so Kareem Begum's pissed off, and he's playing like crazy. I still think he's going to be the first one to get a triple-double in this league. It's coming. Although, you know what? Jar Duncan almost got one last week. It was very close. We'll talk about that in a little bit here. Third game of the night was Marquette and UCLA. That was a close one. Marquette won 73-71 over the Bruins. Zeke Ali had 16 points. That was a really balanced scoring. 12 from Juan Wall, a great name. Cody Mallure had 10.7 assists. Darius Martin had 10 points, 4 assists, 2 steals. And Bjorn Lockhart had 8 and 8. On the UCLA side, Huncho Jack had a huge game, 25 points, had 4 for 6 from 3. Mario Tabano brought in 16 rebounds for UCLA, up to no good, had 14, 5, and 3. Percy, UCLA played better than I thought they were going to play. Marquette is very dangerous because there's so many guys that could beat you on this team as we look at these stats.
Yeah, man. UCLA lost a few guys. They followed Mr. Tonale to UConn over there, and but Leia, like you said, dude, who you say, Lobo? Lobo had a real good.
For Marquette was Zeke Ali, Juan Wall, Cody Mallure, and Darius Martin.
Oh man, hey, Marquette is hooping. Marquette got some studs on their team. They better watch out for next game though, cause we coming for y'all. But yeah, man, that was a really good game, and UCLA put up a really good fight. It was a close game. It was back and forth. I mean, it could have gone either way, but Marquette ended up pulling it out and getting the dub. And I'm looking forward to seeing them play this year. Um, I think both teams are gonna have good seasons.
Yeah, UCLA was playing that game with a walk-on, Michael Cantor. They pick up AJ Cotton as their 10th this week, so look for them to be improved on upon that. Um, After that, we had, let's see here, Clemson. Clemson looked really good, Tech, beating Indiana 78-53. Charlie Banks made a difference right away, 14-5, 3 and 2. Ronald Burgundy at 13-6 and 2 and 1. So the new guys, and Baker Gordon at 11-1 and 3. So the new guys for Clemson really provided a huge lift. On the Indiana side, Rob Bass had 12 and 2 and some thunderous dunks. But Clemson looks really, really good after one game this season.
Yeah. I mean, after losing somebody like Monty Wyatt, Charlie Banks, he's going to be a guy to watch this season.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's really going to help lead their team to possibly a March Madness, run, possibly deep. Charlie Banks is ready to take over this team. They just have a good setup going for them, and beating Indiana. I know in the past Indiana hasn't been a great team, but they definitely made some headway this season in recruiting. So I mean, don't count them out. But Clemson's ready.
Yeah, Clemson looked really, really good. You talk about teams to watch, flying up through the rankings and making deep runs. Clemson is definitely one of those teams that we need to watch out for. The second game of that night, Louisville and USC. The Trojans handled the Louisville Cardinal 81-50. Corey Dobbins had 10, 4, and 3 for the Louisville. Passy Grimes had 10 points. Stan Strong had 20 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Neil Mason had 17, 2, and 5. I think there was good. Ling Yao had 4 steals in this game, tied for the high of the week with Ben Dover. But Zach, I mean, USC. This is the USC that we wanted to see. That consistency that we don't always see, and they played really well. Led by their big two, Stan Strong and Neil Mason.
Yeah, I mean, I think all 4 of us, so whether we've called or broadcasted or streamed it, we think, we've even said it, as long as those two, Neil Mason and Stan Strong, or even one of the two have a dominant game, and especially in this one when they both do, USC is a scary team because they have nice teams around them. I think both of them, just off the top of my head, Neil Mason at 17, Stan Strong at 20, and they both were stupid athletic. I think they shot over 50% both of them, which is, I mean, for guards, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's extremely good. And Neil Mason struggled from 3 a little bit, but I mean, he was everywhere in that game. So great win for the Trojans to start their season off. Louisville going to pick up a couple here, and they're going to be much improved with Corey Dobbins and Austin Deedle. So look for the Cardinals to improve. Ohio State edged out Duke 79-70. Percy, the Blue Devils played better than I thought they would. I know you don't. I mean, they lost the game. I always give Percy the Blue Devils. You know what I do this? This is good stuff here. Pinesaw had 16 points for Ohio State. Sean Moore, being a beast, is always 16, 5, and 3 for the Buckeyes. Linnea Fauché had 15 points. The Buckeyes shot 5 for 12 from 3. And then on the Duke side, Jonell Ritter has been somebody that I've really enjoyed watching this season. Say what you want about Duke, but Jonell Ritter is a breakout guy right now. He had a great preseason, then he comes in week 1 and drops 19 points, going 2 for 3 from 3 points. So, talk to me about Duke a little bit and what you saw in that game. And Ohio State's one of those teams that's tough to beat.
Man, yeah. For Duke, man, Ritter was just waiting for his turn. I mean, he sat there patiently last year and played behind King, and this season I think it's gonna be a breakout year for him. I think he's gonna lead that Duke team most nights. He's gonna go out there and play tough, and I mean, they could be all right this year.
Well,
but,
you'll see him in week 6 in our rivalry week.
Yeah,
so.
they'll be like 5th or 6th place in ACC, but no, I'm kidding. But as far as Ohio State, man, me and you have been talking about it since Hawk Talk last year. They've been getting better and better and better. they got some good signings. They're hooping. So I expect big things out of Ohio State this year.
Yeah, Ohio State's one of those teams for me that just finds ways to win. I talk about like teams like Kansas where, you know, I don't necessarily think they got a ton better from last year, but they're just finding ways to win. And you know, that's Ohio State to me, is they just find ways to win in tough games. So yeah, good win for them. Then we move on to Wednesday. Purdue came out firing in that game against Tennessee, 87-52 win. Great to see from a program like Purdue. Go Mole had 18 and 10. Rain Rowe had 16, 4 and 2. Ryder Chisholm had 12. Jay Holiday had 10. William Davis had 10 and 7. So very balanced scoring for the Boilermakers. And then on the Tennessee side, balanced scoring as well, just not as much scoring. Leek McGee, Rocky Davidson, and Caden Craig all had 9. Tech, did you like what you saw from Purdue? They really came out firing in that game. They ended up shooting 50% from 3. And they just played great defense that entire time.
Yeah, huge turnaround from the game. They played us in the tournament, the first round of the Maui, and they gave us a game down to the wire. I mean, Purdue is a team that's gonna be here for forever. You know what I mean? They're here. Gol Mall leading that charge this game, 18 and 10. That's ridiculous. You know, Gol Mall was a little bit of a role player last season. Now he's taking over being the lead for Purdue. That's, you know, it's amazing to see Purdue. Another one they're in the Big East, right? They're a Big East team.
Big Ten, yeah.
Big Ten.
Oh, they're a Big Ten team. Gotcha. Yeah, just I mean they're coming out killing it. It's great to see.
Yeah, so I mean, I got to give props to Coach Ryder over there at Purdue. He's done a great job. You know, similar to when Zach took over at FSU, he really turned it around. Purdue's doing that right now, and it's really good to see what Purdue's been able to produce over there. So, congrats to the Boilermakers. The next game was UNLV coming out on top over Providence, 73-66. That game was very close and back and forth a lot of the game. Ricky Avery had 12 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. Craig Steele had 8 points. Craig Steele struggled a little bit. It was 0 for 4 from 3. I would like to see that come up. TJ Camden had 11 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, and 2 blocks. And then on the UNLV side, Dylan Hart just had 16, 7, and 2. Adrian King had 15, 2, and 6. Horace Lynch had 14. And Julius Lafleur had 8 and 10 with 4 blocks, Zach. So UNLV is looking as strong as ever with the additions of, you know, they were a good team last year. Now they get Hartjes and King in that lineup with their top 2 scorers.
Yeah, I mean, it's still interesting to me to see how they incorporate both of those players, because I mean, King, I mean, it's easy to forget, and for these new players, he averaged 25 the entire season last year for Duke. So I mean, I like how he played. He wasn't too aggressive, because I mean, you got Horace Lynch over there at LaFleur. I mean, Dylan is a great player, and they've got a couple bench guys as well who are just dominant. So it's gonna be interesting to see how those kind of play out. You know, is LaFleur gonna be okay with 8 and 10 when he just averaged 17 and 12?
Part of the year,
I mean, yeah. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that all floats out. But definitely a stupid talented team.
Yeah, I mean, Providence struggled in this game a little bit. They went 9 for 28 from 3, 32%. And they stuck in that game 73-66. So that says a lot about what we're going to see from Providence, especially in the Big East. It's a young team learning how to play with each other. They're going to be really good. So look out for them for sure. I think the thing I liked about Adrian King in that game is that he wasn't, like you said, he wasn't too aggressive early. He kind of played that facilitator role at 6 assists, shared the ball, but when it came down to it, we saw Adrian King make some big shots down the stretch. So that's exactly what you want out of King, and that's what I was saying when he went to UNLV, that I think he's going to be great for this team because he can facilitate so well, you know. And then when it comes down to it, yeah, he can take the ball and score. So that's definitely an asset for the running Rebels. And then we moved on to Georgetown versus Kansas. That was a fantastic game. Georgetown got down 20 points, 20 plus, I think. Came back and made it a game. Came up short against the defending champion Jayhawks, 85-74. Mojo Rising had a breakout game, 23 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds, 2 steals. Toy kind of struggled in this game a little bit. He only had 3 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists, so not what we saw out of him in the preseason. Went 2 for 8. But credit Kansas on that defense. Brock Lee is the other guy that I want. There's 2 guys on this Kansas team I want to talk about. Brock Lee is one of them that I think is a completely breakout player this year. 23 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, and a block. 3 for 4 from 3. Tez Green, 16 points, 3 assists. Michael Scarn had 11 and 8. Josiah Weber had 11 and 6. Jar Duncan, 8 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 blocks. That is a monster game. I would have really liked to see him get to 10 blocks. Percy, tell me, I mean, Kansas looks, they look as good as ever. And now with the, when I went into the offseason, I said, okay, what's Kansas going to look like? They don't look any different. They really don't. They look like the same team. Brock Lee did something in the offseason that he just turned around his game completely. And he's a player of the year candidate for me early on in the season. But tell me about this game between this experienced Jayhawk team versus very young Hoyas team.
I mean, you said it, man. I mean, it was the vets versus the rooks, and the vets won. But boy, I'm gonna just have to start calling Georgetown the comeback kids. But that's the second time they didn't came back from 20 points. I know that tournament game didn't really count, but it happened, and then they showed out. And the only difference was this time they didn't come up with the win. But those teams played tough, and that was one of the better games to watch. I mean, I personally turned it off after the 20 points, and I was at work, and I turned it back on, because it was my brother's team. I wanted to see what was going on, so I was like, whoa, they're down 2 or 3 points now. So, I mean, they had a really good comeback. And as far as Kansas, man, Jar Duncan and he's becoming a beast. I mean, he's been a beast on defense.
He's going for defensive player of the year right now. So
yeah, you know what I'm saying. Maybe not with Percy, but anyway. Other than Brock Lee, like I said, bruh ate his Wheaties or something. Took some steroids, maybe. It looking like, but dude is hooping. Dude, like I said, like you said, I think he's my candidate for a player of the year so far.
Yeah,
so
it's really early to talk about that, but I mean, Brock Lee is the truth. I mean, we're starting to see
the
it.
Real deal.
But yeah, like you said, this is why you don't turn off games in the CSBA. Georgetown is a very talented team. They struggled in this game for a majority of it. They turned it on in the second half. But Georgetown's going to be as tough. That Big East is going to be so fun to watch. I'm looking forward to pretty much every game in that Big East. Moving on to Oregon and Michigan State. Michigan State got out to I think it was like an 11-2 run to open the game. Baron Thomas finally made some shots, and then Oregon kind of crept back in the game and then took over late. Scooby Lewis had 15 and 7. Greg Cooksey, as deadly as always, 15 points, 3 for 6 from 3. Devin Davis had 11 and 7 and 5 blocks. On the Michigan State side, Baron Thomas had 17 and 2. Spencer Young had 17 off the bench. DJ Jones had 12, 2 and 5 with 2 steals and a block. And then Braylon Banks, 8, 6 and 3. Who's up on this thing? Zach, tell me about this game. What you saw? I mean, it was a rematch of last year's March Madness game.
I don't want to sound like I keep going at your man's there.
You can go at him all you want. 2 for 7 is not unacceptable from 3.
Yeah, and not even that. I think the 12-point run you're talking about, he had 9 of those.
Yeah.
And then 8 points the rest of the game. And we saw, again, I think I streamed this one, so I remember this. It's weird, I know. But I think he went just 1 for 7 or 1 for 8 in the fourth quarter, and especially the last 2 minutes or so. I'm looking forward, and we were all talking about this. Braylon Banks, that man's going to be a problem. We saw some glimpses looking like the Greek Freak. I think if they, Michigan State can incorporate them, they wouldn't have to worry about losing a game like this because there's a 1-2 punch. We saw the pressure was really getting to Barron for this one.
Yeah, how about Oregon? Scooby Lewis drew the task of guarding Barron in that one. He kind of woke up after that 9-point run, which definitely happens. But talk about like Greg Cooksey, 3 for 6. Greg Cooksey he killed Michigan State last year in March Madness and he did it again.
I think it's just Oregon doing Oregon things. Devin Davis moving to the center was a really good move for that team. And I think Scooby played the 2 just to specifically guard your player, which is a great move in hindsight because when you have someone who's 6'9", guarding someone who's 6'4", it's just a smart move. So again, great coaching by Misfit. And then you've got other players like I think it was Babbage.
Babbage had 11 points in the game as well.
Yeah, Cooksey, he's just a sniper. We know what Cooksey does. And then just the point guard group, they have Gleasack and I don't remember anyone else, but they have a good group of players. And like I was saying on the stream, it's almost the entire same team as last year. So that nucleus just keeps on chugging. They get better, they get bigger, And I think Devin Davis is definitely an upgrade at the 5 for them.
Oh, huge upgrade for sure. With being able to bring Grayson James off the bench for them
Yeah.
and do that, that's huge for them in that aspect. Moving on to the next game, Florida State took down Kentucky 74-55. Bryson Castillo had a game of his career with 15 points. Cheetah Bird had 19, 7, and 3. Monty White had 11 points. Bernard Gustafson had 9 and 4. On Kentucky side, 14 and 8 for Prince Chamberlain. 10 points for Connor Caden, 9 for Devin Anthony. Only 2 in double figures for Kentucky. Tech, Florida State. I said coming into this game, and I'll say it again, and it's nothing against Kentucky. They're a fantastic basketball team. No, they don't suck. They're a good basketball team, but they don't match up well against stretch teams, and I'll say it over and over. You've played them multiple times, and you guys, although you're not a traditional stretch look, you have a stretch four, and that matchup is tough. Zach is, I mean, Florida State's a full-out stretch team. So that was coming into that. That was the game that I was like, that's gonna struggle.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Florida State just dominated the game. If you look at the box scores and you look at the team summary, I mean, everything other than time of possession is for Florida State. And just to throw out some of the stats, I mean, Florida State went 6 for 12, shooting 50% from the 3-point line, while Kentucky just shot 4 for 12. And then one of the other things we talk about is Kentucky has those big men, those big guys that normally dominate the boards. But, I mean, Florida State, 12 offensive rebounds to Kentucky 6.
29 to 24 overall, yeah.
Yeah, just dominating. I mean, you look at steals, 11 steals for Florida State to 3 for Kentucky, and it's just they just completely dominated the game. And UK is going to have to go back to the drawing board and kind of look to see how they can alleviate some of those problems when they play those stretch teams, because I think coaches are starting to figure out that might be their weak point, and they're going to have to deal with that all season.
Yeah, when Zach and I were talking about, all these teams going to 2 big looks, I said the 5 out's going to be the meta. This is how you spread teams out. And you know what? A lot of people think, 5 out, they're going to shoot 33s a game. No, they just spread you out and they get to the rim. There's no help. When you got Prince Chamberlain having to guard Gustafson on the wing, there's nobody in there to block shots. So now guys like Wyatt and guys like Cheetah Bird, who is, he can get in the lane against anybody. Yeah. There's no help there now. So it's one-on-one basketball, and I'll take Cheetah Bird probably 9 times out of 10 against anybody. Right. So that's the power of 5 out, is you really take away the shot blockers, which is really what Kentucky lives on. So we'll see how they respond. I think Kentucky they can do some things with their lineup. They're going to be great against traditional teams. They're probably going to win a lot of games against traditional teams. I just think that they're going to struggle against these stretch teams until they figure out how to play against them.
I agree.
Yeah, that might be, going more zone, or I don't know what it is, but they're going to have to figure that out. But Florida State definitely kind of gave them a wake-up call in that one. Moving on to Gonzaga and Notre Dame, the Bulldogs looked fierce, 89-68 over a good Notre Dame team. Granted, Notre Dame struggled pretty heavily in this game. They shot pretty well from 3. They didn't struggle that bad, actually, but Gonzaga was 54%, 61 from 3. Percy Sawyer Stern had 26 points, 5 for 9 from 3. He looked on fire in that game. He was hitting everything. Josh Clayton had 14. Green had 12 points. On the Notre Dame side, Ethan Martin had 15. Alan Kane had 12. So, Notre Dame looked really good against Michigan State, shot over almost 60% against Michigan State in the preseason. And then they come in and run into a really hot Gonzaga team who shot lights out in this one.
Yeah, man, it's just like a lot of the Big East teams, they're young. They have a group of young guys, really good young guys. I love watching. I've loved watching Notre Dame play so far in these 2 games. They're looking really good. They're going to be a part of that crazy Big East. That's going to be a crazy conference to watch. But they just came up short. They played tough. And Gonzaga, Sawyer Stern is looking like a beast. He, man, I don't know, something about us NC State guys, me, you, him.
Don't include me in that. I suck.
You alright? No,
I wish I was
just-
Sawyer. I wish I was Stern.
Yeah, me too. I want to be. I want to be like Sawyer.
Right.
Nah, dude is hooping. He's having a great. He's picking up where he left off last season. I think he's gonna have a great year, and I think he's gonna be the leader. He is that leader of that Gonzaga team. So I think he's gonna take him to really high places this year.
Yeah, another team that's got a lot of experience, and then they add some younger guys that contribute. Notre Dame is not the youngest team in the Big East. They got a lot of transfers in, but they're still, in regards to playing together, they're very young, right? So they're going to have to figure out that chemistry for sure. Wisconsin versus Florida it turned out to be a very good game. Florida was down early, another comeback by the Gators late. Gave Wisconsin a little scare, but the Badgers came out on top 78-70. Let's see here. Jaden Patterson, 15 points, 2 for 3. Percy Miller had 16, probably the player of the game in that one. Michael Copley had 15 and 7. On the Florida side, Randy Savage had 11 and 5, was a beast on the glass, on the offensive glass, 4 offensive rebounds. Rodney Merciless had 8 and 7. Kwame Love had 8 and 9. Tyree Tooks had 7. David Ware had 6, 7 and 3. Chris Houston had 8, 4 and 3. Scott Fountain had 8 points. So a lot of balanced scoring for the Gators. Trying to maybe find their identity a little bit, but it's got to be good tech when you got that much, balanced scoring. That's going to drive you in a lot of games. But tell me about this Wisconsin team. They've looked really good in the preseason and right now.
Yeah, complete turnaround from last season. I mean, they struggled last season behind like the play of Copley. They were trying to center him. Sorry, one second.
Very good. This is a dog-friendly league. We're good.
Should've took
Barking
the
at the
dog
ice
out.
cream man. Barking at the ice cream man outside.
Can you blame him?
That's a
Come
good
on,
thing to
man.
bark at. That's
Right,
appropriate.
Right. Come on now, Tech.
If I wasn't here, I'd be outside at the ice cream man. But yeah, I mean, they're getting a huge step up from Patterson this year.
Oh, yeah.
Percy Miller, I mean, took over this game. He shot 50%. And Copley's not having to be that guy that they're relying on to score because he can score, but he's not that consistent scorer. He's more of that defensive leader.
Yes.
That's gonna lead them to getting steals and turnovers. But now that they've added, not added Patterson, but now that Patterson is stepping up and really starting to hit his shots, and now Miller is contributing as well. I mean, we're just seeing a different Wisconsin team that's going to make some noise.
Yeah, and it goes to my point even more. I think anybody can beat anybody, and the Big Ten for sure is going to be one of those conferences where it's going to be a bloodbath every night. But you got to love the fight out of Florida. They were down early. David Ware's done a great job as coach over there. Got to give him mad props for sure. It's just a matter of time before Florida. They remind me a lot of a Wisconsin team last year where I was just like, they just got to click. They got to click. I think once Florida clicks, they're going to be okay. But we're just waiting on that from the Gators.
Yeah, I agree. They're just a few pieces away, maybe some coaching changes and things like that to start making some noise. But they're there. They have the talent. Just got to put it together.
For sure. And moving on, Oregon State. Go ahead. Yeah.
Early.
Yeah, very early. Oregon State beat Villanova 85-76. The Wildcats looked better than they did in the preseason. It was a good game for them. Turk Maverick had 9 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 blocks. So Turk looking as strong as ever. Lefty Wright had 11 and 5. Talali Laga had 13 points. Xavier Reed had 14. And Hubba Kimbrell, I think that's how you say it. Brand new player for them. 13, 4 and 4 with 3 steals, Zach. That's a great addition for the Badgers, or for the Beavers. And then Calvin Prophet had 22 points, 5 assists. Brayton Allen had 11 points, and Joey Phillips had 10 for the Wildcats.
Yeah, I mean, Villanova, we saw Prophet talking a lot when recruiting season was around. He's been kind of quiet, working on his craft, apparently, because we just saw him just score whenever he wanted. And I think he's coming off the bench. Someone correct me. I don't know if he started. But, dude, just killed it for Villanova, kept him in the game. And then for Oregon State, that 3-point guard group they have, literally they had GP3 and then Talal Laga, who were really great last year. And then you pull, what's his name, 3 Chainz, what's his player? I forgot.
Xavier Reed.
Yeah, whatever his XR3 the third. You pull him from Oklahoma State, and that's a deadly group because XR3 was kind of, he's still meshing with his teammates, getting everything together. Then GP3 just came in and just lit shit up, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
So I forgot how good he was. But Villanova's gonna be great. I know coach over there is gonna really incorporate his player. Joey Phillips, he had a
Yeah.
great game. I think he came off the bench as well. So it's going to see interesting. Like Tech was saying, it's still early. There's new coaches. We can all attest to when we were coaches. My first game, I had no idea what the hell I was doing.
Mhm.
But as you play and you get more comfortable, you know what does what. I expect Villanova to be really good this year.
Yeah, Joey Phillips, he's a coach of mine in another league, and he's fantastic. So I have no doubt that he's going to be great for this Villanova team. Last game of the week was Michigan and Texas. Was a fantastic game until about 3 minutes left, I think, or 2 minutes left. I think it was tied, or maybe it was a 1 point game or tied. But Michigan pulled away late. Count the experience there. Shane Page, 19.7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and a block. Shane Page looks great already. Jacques Ali Dio, 10 points, 3 rebounds. Willis McGee, 8 points. Morgan Freeman, 8 points, 7 rebounds. So, Michigan looks very balanced. Texas had Baker Mason went 12 points, 10 points for Tyler Johnson. Joey Case had 8 points and 11 rebounds with 3 assists and a block and a steal. So, I mean, Texas I think they're still learning how to run through Baker Mason, Percy. But as the more run they get through him, he looked really good in that game, more in the second half than the first. But the more run that he's going to get with that, as the go-to guy, Texas is going to naturally get better. The additions of Case and Hunter are obviously big for them. But Michigan, that experience really just paid off in the end.
Yeah, man. They had the better game at the end. Texas, like you said, they're just learning how to play. Anytime you lose a Zeke Ali, and didn't they lose Sudeikis also?
Yes. Yeah.
Losing those 2 guys was huge for Texas. I mean, that kind of just rocked the whole, their whole game plan, everything, And like you said, they're running through Baker Mason, who had a really good season last year, playing behind those 2 guys. I think they had a better complete team, and now that he's running the shots, I think that they're gonna eventually get it, and they're playing in the Big 12, which is a pretty tough conference.
That's a bloodbath.
So they're gonna have to get it together, or they're gonna have a tough season. But I think they're gonna get it together. And
Michigan. Yeah.
Michigan, Shane Page is looking good. Freeman, they have a great core that they've kept from last season, and I think that they're just more mature. I mean, they made the championship game, and they played well against Kansas.
Yeah.
So I think that they're going to be one of the tougher teams this year. So,
Got to the final game last year. People sleep on Michigan a lot, but they're very strong. That's it for last week. Let's take a look at the rankings real quick. And disclaimer on these rankings, it's very hard to rank teams after 1 week. It's why I don't do it, because you kind of almost got to rank teams that win games ahead of teams that don't, and it's hard. So we're going to take a look at the rankings, and we'll chat about them very quickly, and then we'll move on to this week's games. But let's check these out here. As you see here, sorry I didn't get rid of all the background stuff, but Kansas number 1, UConn, Oregon, Oklahoma State, Michigan. I would probably agree with the top 5. I could argue that FSU probably belongs in the top 5. Gonzaga, I mean, the top 10 is very good. So, on one hand, it's very difficult to rank teams. On the second hand, this league is damn good. So, it's the top 10 is all very good teams, and then UNC, Georgetown, Kentucky, Oregon State, UCLA, Syracuse. Listen, Syracuse won the ACC last year, and they're ranked 16. So it's this league's good. Notre Dame, Ohio State, Providence, USC, Michigan State, Texas, Indiana, Wisconsin, Duke. I think Wisconsin won their game, so I think that we misranked them for sure. They should be up there higher. So don't count them for sure, but I think Wisconsin deserves to be, in the top 10 to 15 range there. But I mean, quickly, Zach, he didn't do a terrible job the rankings aren't terrible for having played 1 game, but we're going to obviously see all these rankings shake out in the next few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot I can touch on. The Oregon State being ranked lower than Kentucky is a complete crime. I love Wired, I love his team, but Oregon State, just like I was just talking about, they're ridiculously talented. I mean, I'm not gonna pick apart his job. We all know we produce content for the league. It's a pain in the ass to
Yeah.
rank people, and then people like myself and Percy, we go ahead and just dog them. So shout out to B Mills. I still hate you. I still want my thumbs up, but I mean, great job, man. Like you said, the top 10, it's hard to argue with. And it's still early. I mean, shit, I was ranked 26 when I took over for FSU.
Yeah.
So if you don't like it, show you can get it and get it together.
Michigan was ranked. Shane Page is in chat. He'll tell you exactly what Michigan was ranked last year. I believe they were ranked 23 or 22 preseason after week 1. They got to the final. So don't read too much into these rankings. There's a long way to go in the season. But thank you to B Mills for doing these. They are fantastic. What did I do here? Oh boy.
Number 1 is spot on. Though.
Yeah, Tech for sure, buddy.
Man, how much you pay Boo Mills for that, bro?
Number
Come
one
on.
is-
This
Yeah.
man came in here pregame, was like, "Oh, are we top 5 or something?" I'm like, "Bitch, you number 1. Come on now." Percy can attest to that too.
B-Mills
Yeah, he
knows
did.
what's up.
Yeah, he did. He was capping. Capping.
I need to fix my my display real quick. But I mean,
Got double
Tech-
first.
yeah, I got
He
double.
said, "Are we ranked in the 20s?"
I got double purse, but you know what? I'm not mad about having double Percy.
Puff Puff Cooper, baby. That's what we all here
Puffy,
for,
baby.
right?
There we go. All right,
But yeah,
let's.
Tech.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, Zach.
No, what do you think though, Tech? I mean, we know you're gonna be top 5, but are any sleeper picks or anything kind of that you saw there?
Oh man, it's just so early to tell. Honestly, thank you for pulling it back up.
I've been doing this a long time.
I didn't just look at this right now.
Put him on blast.
It's truly too early to tell, man. The literally the top 10 is, I mean, those are dominant teams right now.
Mhm.
And I did come into this before Nighthawk before Hawk Talk and was like, are we even top 5?
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
even know, because honestly, I don't know if we're the best team in the league right now. Honestly, there's a few teams that I think will edge us out if we run against them. Luckily we got past Georgetown, but OK State is in our conference.
Yeah.
Texas is there.
Kentucky, yeah.
UK. It's gonna be tough. Ask me that question again, week 7 or 8, or 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I'll probably have a better answer.
I think BML's did a good job of spreading out the rankings based on conference too. We see in the top 5 there's somebody represented from there's 2 representatives from the Big 12. ACC maybe move up there a little bit, but yeah, like I said, that's the tough job. But moving on to this week, let's talk games real quick, and we'll talk we're gonna go over again because it's what we do on Hawk Talk, and we love you guys here, and we just have so much
Yeah.
fun on the damn podcast that I'm okay going over. Anyway,
Hell yeah.
so moving
Yeah,
on to
not-
week
not
2
done yet.
tonight, Michigan State and Louisville. UNLV, Duke, Kentucky, Syracuse. Zach, tell me what you're looking forward to for Michigan State and Louisville, first game of the week.
Yeah, I kind of touched on this a little bit. I'll go both sides, and I'll try to keep it quick. Michigan State, Spencer Young played phenomenal off the bench, 17 points on 6 of 10 shooting.
NC State, baby.
Can he do that for Barron? Who's going to show up? I know we talked about Braylon Banks. Who's going to alleviate that pressure? Because, I mean, Louisville may have lost last week, but they've got some stupid talented dudes. For them, I think just the combination of Louisville, how can they get Corey Dobbins and Passy Grimes going? And a name that we say all the time, Terrence Top, kind of missing in action. Phenomenal player. We know he can ball, but just it's going to be interesting to see how Crackback incorporates him in that system, because they have a nice team. I think they signed 1 or 2 people this week because they had 2 walk-ons last week.
They still got the 2 walk-ons, but they'll get those 2. I'm not worried about that. So, but yeah, like you said, Louisville's not a team, and then they match up pretty well this week. So
They do, yeah, and I'm excited to see it. I mean, I think Corey Dobbins and Passy Grimes, if they put one or the other at the 4 and run a stretch 4 lineup, that could be really nasty. But again, it's Crackback's team, it's his philosophy. I'm going to be interested to see how they match up, because Michigan State, like you said, Braylon Banks is a nasty, nasty 4 who can play the 5. So it's going to be whoever stops him. Good luck, man.
yeah, Braylon Banks is going to be special. Maybe one of the front runners for freshman of the year for sure. Percy, UNLV Duke, second game of the night.
Oh man, that's an easy one. UNLV is gonna smash them. Adrian King is gonna play against his old team.
Revenge narrative, Adrian King tonight.
Right. Yeah, I think I honestly just think UNLV is gonna be too much. Ritter's gonna have a good game. The rest of the Duke, the Duke guys are gonna, they're gonna put up a good fight. But I think at the end of the day, UNLV's the vets. I mean, they got the reigning MVP
Mm-hmm.
of the league. They got Adrian King. They got what's his name, Hardage.
Harchis, yeah.
Harches. Yeah, I mean they just got a core that's gonna be too good for Duke to overcome, I think, tonight. So that's gonna be a really good game though.
Yeah, Duke's got some guys to look out for. They're very young. Legion also says that Horace Lynch is a former Blue Devil from season 1, so a couple former Blue Devils
Yeah.
going against their team. Tech, Kentucky, Syracuse to end the night should be a fantastic game.
Yeah, gonna be a
Definitely.
great game. I think it's gonna be a big statement game for both teams. Both of them coming out with a loss in week 1, but both of them played possibly top 5 teams in UConn. UConn beat Syracuse, and FSU beat Kentucky. This is a big statement game for both of them coming off of last season. They were both great programs, and this is going to be able to kind of like we were talking about, kind of rank them who is a little bit
Wait.
better this season. I think I have Syracuse taking this game, but we'll see if Kentucky can show up.
Well, we talked about the matchup. I think Kentucky matches up a lot better in this game than they did against, obviously, Florida State. DJ Jackson is that big man in the middle for Syracuse. I expect Kentucky to be fully ready for that game tonight.
Right.
I think that Kentucky's got to shoot a little better. Joe B's got to get going a little bit, but they're going to get there. So, but Syracuse is going to come out firing. We're going to see probably 25 threes from them tonight. So, be ready for that. Moving on to tomorrow, Zach, Florida versus Purdue game, the first game of the week or first game of the night. Purdue just come out that huge win. Florida, showed a lot of grit. Can the Gators bounce back in this one against a hot Purdue team?
I kind of wrote it in my notes. Good, bad, and what's next. They need to play good guard defense. They got absolutely shredded by the USC group. I think that's who they played, or whoever they played last week. I don't remember. They've got to play better guard defense, or maybe just help defense in general. But that once they got going, I think they were down by as many as 18 or 19. And then they started getting going. They started getting offensive rebounds. If they start hot or even just decent, I think Florida can compete with Purdue. But I mean, like Tech was mentioning earlier, the score summary for Purdue, they literally led in every single stat into the last game. So it's gonna be tough to replicate. Can they shoot over 50% from 3 again? I'm not so sure. It's a new team, Purdue. Shout out to Ryder again. You came in late. You're killing it, dude. We're happy to see it. But this one's more of a toss-up to me. Ware knows what he's doing. He's a seasoned coach in another league I'm in. We'll see what happens. It's tough, man. I mean, I'm really excited to see this game for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Florida played Wisconsin last week, but it's the same difference. What you talked about, it was the guard defense for sure. But yeah, Purdue's going to have to come. I think they're going to have to start fast again. Purdue's going to have to start fast in games if they want to win games, and Florida's going to have to not get into that 20-point lull that we see and have to work their way back. Second game of the night, Indiana versus Georgetown. Percy, the Hoyas. Are they going to have to come from behind again against Indiana, or do you see them running out in this one?
I actually see Georgetown having a pretty good game against Indiana. Indiana's going to be a tough team in the Big Ten. But Georgetown is just one of those teams that I think that their young guys they have a core, a good group of guys that play well together, and they like kind of just bounce off each other, and they play good basketball. So I think they're gonna end up coming up with the dub.
Yeah, Indiana's got to bounce back after that week 1 loss to Purdue or to Clemson. Like you said, yeah, Georgetown's also a week 1 loss. They're going to be fired up. Their home opener, so we can see that Georgetown
definitely.
court this week. So should be a good one. Notre Dame versus OK State. Tech, who's going to slow down Percy Cooper? See what you did, Percy. Who's going to slow down Kareem Bigums in this game? And why is it going to be Dylan LeBlanc?
Yeah, honestly, Notre Dame's gonna have their hands full You know, OK State is a very efficient team.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to make sure they're gritting and grinding the entire game, trying to get all of the 50-50 balls, all of the, getting their hands on every ball they can, because OSU is going to bring it to them. This is going to be one to watch. I feel like OSU is going to really put on some highlight plays in this one.
They should. I mean, Notre Dame's going to bounce back from that, but yeah, Oklahoma State is on fire right now. They got a new attitude for sure after coming up short last season. So we're going to see Kareem Bigums, and we're going to see if Dylan LeBlanc can slow him down in this game. Notre Dame runs a 5-out look as well, but it really doesn't do anything against OK State. They're fantastic against the 5-out. So
Right.
we're going to see a good one tomorrow night. It'd be interesting to see what lineup B Mills comes up with.
Yeah.
He's probably going to start like 3-point guards or something. But we'll see. Bigums will be playing Waterboy and then start the second half or something. That's a B Mills lineup. On to Wednesday, Kansas versus Gonzaga. Zach, first game of the week. This should be a fantastic game.
Yeah, I mean both of these teams. I mean Kansas coming off a red hot victory over Georgetown. And we were talking about it before the game. Broccoli was just nuts, dude. Potential MVP candidate. I know it's stupid early again, but the stat line he put up was 23 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block. That's the type of shit we see from Trey Upton and the likes of players like that. So that's something definitely to keep an eye on. And then for Gonzaga, who's going to show up? Are we going to see the Stern who just, we know he's going to shoot a lot, let's be honest. But is he going to be efficient enough for them to win? It's going to be tough to call. I think it's going to be a great game. You guys definitely got to tune to that one. I consider it game of the week, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a contender for game of the week. It should be really good. USC Clemson game 2. Percy, both teams very impressive in their week 1 blowout wins. Who comes out in this one?
Man, that's actually hard, man. You got my man Stan over there at USC. You got my girl Ty over there at Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's gonna be a tough matchup. I don't even want to do it. I think USC's gonna come up with the win. I just think that those guys have been together a year.
Mm-hmm.
Stan Strong and Mo Buckets, and they got a good group of guys that have been together. They've played a whole year together. Whereas Clemson has a whole bunch of young guys. I think the loss of Monty White was huge for Clemson. Although I love that team at Clemson, I love Ty. I think that USC is gonna come out with the win. I think that them just being a group of veterans is gonna come out.
Yeah, I'll give the old sports book minus 2 points to Clemson here for the home game. It's going to be a fantastic game. Clemson looks really, really strong, but it's a good matchup for both teams. I mean, Stan Strong, Neil Mason versus Charlie Banks, Ty White, and Burgundy out there. So it's going to be fantastic. I'm excited to see that one for sure. It's always nice when you see teams that kind of underachieved last year playing these big games. That'll be exciting. So UConn versus Oregon State is the final game Wednesday. Tech, Oregon State and UConn both won their first games. Oregon State obviously won the regular season Pac-12. UConn looks like one of the top teams in our league. So Oregon State's at home in this one. What do you think is gonna happen here?
Yeah. I think UConn continues their dominance on defense. I mean, look at this stat. I'm looking at the box scores. They have 10 players on their roster, and 7 of them had a steal in week 1.
Mm-hmm.
That's ridiculous for everybody, almost everybody on your team to have a steal. That means they're really getting their hands on the ball. They're really locking up and putting on their clamps. So I just hope Oregon State is ready to take care of the ball and kind of slow the pace down. I know in the CSBA we have a lot of fast running teams. I think if Oregon State is able to, slow the game down and take advantage of their possessions, they can definitely make this a close game. But I think UConn takes it.
Yeah, UConn's bench is very scary for sure. McCormick coming off that bench was scary for them. They're going to be able to interchange him and Snell into that starting lineup 6-man role. So, you talked about the defense from UConn being really good. This Oregon State team's got 3 really talented point guards, so they take care of the ball really well. So that should be a good matchup for sure to watch that defense versus the point guards. And, is Jacob McKnight up to the challenge of stopping Turk Maverick? We'll see. Jacob McKnight is one of the premier defensive fives in our league. So we'll see if he can defend Drake Maverick in this one. If they do, UConn might run away with this one if Oregon State can take care of the ball and run through Maverick, and they might have a shot. So should be
this one's my game of the week.
Yeah, Wednesday's going to be fantastic for sure. Thursday, UNC versus Marquette should be another great one. Zach, the Tar Heels coming off a Week 1 loss. The Marquette coming off a 2-point win in Week 1. Marquette getting their first home game of the CSBA. What do you see happening?
This is another one. I mean, we got so many good games this week. How is UNC gonna respond against Marquette? And I think UNC is gonna play really great. No, but it's gonna be interesting. I mean, Mike Coco scored 19 last week, doing Mike Coco things. But how is Marquette gonna compete? I mean, UNC is a lot like Kentucky. They have those bigs to kind of battle against Marquette. I know they don't. They're a big team, but they're not as big as UNC. So, what type of system are both teams gonna run? Because Zeke Ali and Darius Martin, they're just a problem for Marquette, and then Quentin Giles and everybody else for Marquette. It'll be a great game as well, man. If I had to pick, I wouldn't. But if you put a gun to my head, I would pick probably UNC.
Well, I mean, Cody Miller had 7 assists in that game as well. Here's the matchup watch: Zeke Ali versus Mike Coco, Darius Martin versus Dick Dickey. Should be highlights the entire night. When you look at matchups and you look at maybe where one team has an edge, I'm looking at Percy Cooper might be the X factor in this game. We talked about it before with Percy actually and said, this might be the one game where I think you should run through Percy. Like, this is it. Like, Percy's got the best matchup he's going to have probably in a lot of these games. And and it's not. I mean, Jackson Edelman's a really good power forward. But when you look at Zeke Ali, Darius Martin, Bjorn Lockhart, there's not many places to fit in a matchup, and I think Percy's the matchup to go to for UNC this week. Should be a really good game. I could see it going either way for sure. Second game of the night, Tennessee versus Michigan. Percy, Tennessee dropped a 30-point loss. Michigan had a good game. This one's got the makings of a blowout, but can the Volunteers make something out of this and surprise us all?
Nah. I love Tennessee, man. Craig Edits, my boy. You're doing a great job. I just don't think they're ready to play against a team like Michigan. Michigan is just they're some dogs, man. They from 1 through 10, they're dogs. Any of them could just lead the team in scoring. Starting with Shane Page, of course. But I mean, I think they're just too good right now.
Too experienced, too good, yeah.
Yeah, Tennessee's going to end up being a really good team by the end of the season, but they're just not good enough right now to be the Michigan team. They're just too young.
Yeah, they're getting there. Caden Craig's improving every day. They got a full lineup, so we'll see. I mean, the matchup of the night is obviously Rocky Davidson versus Shane Page. Should be a fantastic one. Basically, the scoring for both of those teams. So we'll see who they turn to, or who gets the upper edge in this one. But yeah, I think I would agree. I think Tennessee's just not there yet. And the last game of the night, Texas versus Florida State. Florida State coming off a big win. Texas drop into Michigan. Florida State comes home after beating Kentucky. The Seminoles look really, really good. Texas is figuring it out. Cheetah Bird versus Baker Mason should be Baker Mason I think is a small forward now. Regardless, whoever guards that small forward position, Baker Mason is going to have to deal with Baker Mason, and Texas is going to have to deal with a plethora of guys. Cheetah Bird being probably the most notable there, with Monte Wyatt and Gustafson out there too.
Yeah, like you said, I just feel like Texas is still trying to find those pieces, and I think it really comes in the scoring. Is where they're struggling. I mean, Baker Mason shot 15 times. The next person was Tyler Johnson. He only shot 7 times. So I think they need to make it a group effort and kind of share the ball, get everybody going, and they have a chance to make it close. But I think Texas is going to come up short in this one.
Yeah. Until somebody stops that 5-out look, I'm picking Florida State in a lot of these games. But Texas is, they pick up Joey Case. They pick up, who's the other guy they just picked up? Riley Hunter. So, I mean, 2 big additions for this Texas team that'll, prove harder to guard for Florida State than without him for sure. So, but I think the Seminoles come out on top there. And then Friday, the last night of the week, Zach, Providence versus UCLA. I want to say I think this is the game Providence gets a win, but I don't know. UCLA is very good.
I initially thought that as well. These teams are both really hard to read. For UCLA, they've got such big roster turnover from Tony Velez going to UConn. But again, I have faith in veteran coaching. I love my boy T. He's in my other league on my team. But I just think Up to No Good knows his team. The thing is, they were close with Up to No Good scoring like under 15.
Mm-hmm.
If they get him going and maybe one more, because I think Up to No Good filled out his roster.
Yeah,
I think UCLA will be a top 10 team. It'll be close. I really do think so, because Providence is just loaded from 1 through 10. But I think UConn's going to take this one.
Yeah, I mean, Providence has to play better than they did last week, shooting the ball wise. It was a close game against UNLV, but now they get another Pac-12 game against UCLA, so we'll see. Oregon versus Ohio State, game 2 of the night. Percy, this one should be another fantastic game. Oregon coming off a win against Michigan State. Ohio State coming off a win as well. So both teams 1-0. Feeling good on this one. Who you got in this one?
I got Oregon. Oregon was a hell of a team last season. I think Scooby Lewis and Oregon just going to be too much for Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, Ohio State's got a really good team. Sean Moore, Pine Saw, they got a lot of matchups they can exploit, but I think Oregon from top to bottom is just too stacked. Not even stacked, they're just very well-rounded. They're built very well, so...
and they know what they're doing. They know what offense they want to run. They run it to perfection. They run it really good. They know we're going to run it through Scooby Lewis, and they know... they just know what they're doing, and that's just what it comes down to for me.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a lot closer. Last year when Oregon was playing Oklahoma State, I said this game's going to be damn close, and then March Madness, they ended up beating them. I think this game's going to be a lot closer than people think as well. So we'll see. In the final game of the week, Wisconsin versus Villanova. Villanova gets pushed to Friday again. Bless their hearts. Tech, who do you see? Wisconsin with the big win in week 1. Villanova with a close loss. Who wins in this one in Villanova's second home game now?
Yeah, big test for Villanova, I feel. Excuse me. They didn't win really any categories other than points in the paint against Oregon State. And I think that's going to be where the battle is going to happen. Wisconsin, they had 38 points in the paint against Florida. And I think both teams are really trying to push that offense and get it into the lane. And I feel like whoever wins that battle might win this game. I think Wisconsin might edge it out, but I think it's a great test if Villanova can come out on top.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fantastic game as well. There you guys have it. Scheduled for week 2. As we looked at the rankings, looked at last week. Give us about 10-15 minutes here, and we're going to tip off with Michigan State and Louisville. Percy, any last words?
And go Tar Heels, baby.
Yeah, I figured that would be the last word. Zach?
Keep showing out CSBA. Let's hit over 100 again. Let's get partnered with Twitch. Let's keep grinding. Keep checking out the content, the writers, the streamers. We put a lot of work into all of this. We got Tech down here, my boy, putting in work, helping out a lot of us. We got new people coming on as well. We're always looking for help. We appreciate all of you guys, man. It's a team effort from Wire to Nighthawk down to all of us. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah, I'll echo that. We'll keep putting out the content as long as you guys keep showing up. We'll keep putting great content out for sure. Zach alerted a little bit. We got a new streamer this week, so we're excited about getting Juan started. Tech, any last words?
Yeah, I mean, just appreciate you guys being here. We had almost 45 to 50 people here in Hawk Talk throughout the entire time. We really appreciate the support, and let's keep growing the CSBA.
There you guys have it. That's Hawk Talk for week 2 of season 3. Give us about 10 minutes. We're going to get started with Michigan State and Louisville. Guys, thanks for showing up. We'll see you guys in about 10 minutes.